Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to Short Shifts. Jeffrey J. Lavecchio here. I'm with Topher, Christopher, Ryan, Scott. Toph has no idea what my topic is. 13:15. That's when we started. That's a little reminder for the old noggin here. Toph has no idea what my question is going to be. We have 10 minutes on the clock. Toph, I want to talk about how you can instill different ways, drills, thought processes, video, whatever it may be, different ways you can instill an attack mentality offensively in younger players. As we've talked about on the show before, like a lot of times younger players, 2-on-1, they wait till the very last second. They try and pass it backdoor. I think we talked about this kind of last week or 2 weeks ago on the podcast with Short Shifts. Or they skate themselves into the corner on a 2-on-1 because they're not like trying to get to the net and think attack. They're like, hold it. I find like a lot of younger players feel selfish if they are thinking shot first versus pass, so like how can coaches try to enforce like, hey, like we want to attack the net, whether that's a 2-on-1, whether that's, getting more shots, spinning and getting to the net, like let's get more shots. Let's get more things funneling to the hole. How do we do that?
Interesting. Okay. I think, first of all, the first thing that comes to mind is us at Michigan a couple years ago, keeping track of all the small area games, the wins and losses, and creating competitions off of it. You have to attack, you have to get to the dirty areas to be able to score. And then so like creating competition and keeping track of like, how often that happens. And that created such a competitive atmosphere in all of our small area games where like, you wanted to score. Like it was, like obviously you wanted to defend too, but it created this mentality of score, and compete, which was really, really, really cool. I think another thing that you can do, I would design maybe a few drills, whether it's a 5-on-5 drill inside the zone, maybe it's a 3-on-3 down low or something like that, where it starts with a shot retrieval. If you want to play that way, you have to be really good at retrievals from the puck because shooting percentages are anywhere from 10 to 20% typically. And so there's going to be a lot of retrievals. So as a coach, can you start some of these drills where it's a race for the puck? And then how quickly can you be of support, or defensively, how quickly can you outnumber whatever, right? And so having that kind of like mentality, we called it deliver pucks, a deliver pucks type of mentality. Like you have to be really, really good and really focus on shot retrievals because that's going to keep possession inside the zone. It's going to allow you to have more ozone time. So can you design some drills that start with that? I think would be another one.
I love that. And guys, like obviously we talk about this all the time, creating competitions in practice. For me, there's no greater motivator than going against your best friend who you go against 3 times a week, 5 times a week, if you're an older player practicing that much and trying to beat them. Like, I say it in the gym all the time too. Like if you bring your best every day, then the guy across from you is going to have to bring his best every day. Now you both are getting better because you're both battling back and forth who can be better. So in practice, create those competitions. Like Toph said, University of Michigan, gold standard, unbelievable. What's up, Nar? Unbelievable. Like they're tallying up small area games, and the boys are eating it up. And that's going to force them to want to play to whatever the skills of the game are trying to accomplish. I think another one too, like Toph said on our last Short Shifts earlier this week, put a time limit on a game. Whether it's, a quick 2-on-1 out of the corner, you have 5 seconds to get a shot, or you have 5 seconds to score, whether that's a shot and a rebound or jam or whatever it is. Like create constraints around that because, Toph and I, like I said, when I started this, we talked about it last week. So many young players skate themselves like out of the good angles that we want to be funneling towards when we're trying to attack the net, and they wind up not shooting, or they wind up waiting till the last second, get jammed up, get a terrible shot, or try to throw it backdoor last minute. The guy's not even there. The D-man's all over him. And this is totally normal when you're younger. But I think that getting players to realize that, like, shooting the puck is pretty much almost always a good play. Almost always a good play. Obviously, guys, you're creating confusion. Who am I going to take now as a D-man? Do I take the guy who shot it? Do I take the backdoor guy? Right? So like letting younger players know that it's okay to get to the freaking net and attack it, I think is massively important. I think through different constraints is a way that we can work on that, as well as like showing the video and the differences between, like, if you got younger players who are doing what I was, the aforementioned, like not shooting or skating themselves into a terrible angle, showing that on video and being like, guys, do we see this? Is this right here? Is he in a good spot? And then fast forward just a little bit. Is this a good spot? Okay, now is he in a good spot when they're skating themselves out? Like, if you attack the net there, it's always a good play, no matter what. Bringing the puck to the house almost always is a good play.
Yeah. I mean, you can have people that'll argue that not all shots are created equal. And
Right.
So there are.
I'm saying, you're close to the net, you put the puck on the net. Obviously, a terrible angle is different, but like, I'm talking about like the younger kids who just like, wait. Okay, now I have nothing to do. I see that in young players all the time.
Yeah. Well, hey man, like at Michigan, my job at the beginning of every practice, take the spray paint bottle and spray paint the area in front of the net. That's where we want to get to. That's where the goals are scored. That's where
What was the area? How big?
It was, well, there was two different ones. There was one that was kind of inner slot, and then one that was kind of like dots up to the top of the circle and over. But it's so important to get to those areas. That's where everything is scored. And so can you create drills where there's potentially a net driver who's got to stop at the net, and then there's a shot where, like, you got to get there for a rebound or something like that. You can design drills to help with that mentality. Now, there is the debate, quantity versus quality. What's more important, a quality shot or the volume of shots? And that kind of it depends on who you talk to. I think there's got to be a balance of the two. And you can create chaos in front of the net by getting pucks there. But you could also, if you're shooting way too many pucks, that's, you could be back checking a lot too, because you're just giving up possession. But I think having a delivering pucks mentality with a team, even if you want more quality shots, is still really important. At the end of the day, you have to shoot the puck to score, and you have to score goals to win. And so if it gets too ticky-tacky, like how many times in your career did you have a coach being like, we got to start getting pucks on net? Like we're being too cute. That was always the thing. That's what people told me all the time. You're being too cute. You're being too cute. You're being too cute. And this is more of like a mindset thing. And I think I've said this, like at my senior year in college, I was like, I need to score more goals. And so in practice, I made it a point to shoot more. Whether it was on the rush, whether it was 2-on-1s, whether it was coming out of the corner, like I needed my default mentality not to be pass every single time. So I kind of trained my brain through my habits to be a little bit more of a shooter. And then my senior year, I think I doubled my previous goal scoring total. And I also had more points than any other year that I had playing college hockey. So just, I think getting that mentality of I'm a goal scorer. I'm a shooter, even if you're not, like, even if that's not really kind of your strength, which is what it was for me, still kind of like driving that into your head, I think can really help.
100%. And I love that you also talked about the guy without the puck, which I didn't even bring up, but that spray painting the ice and being like, if you don't have the puck and you're one of the guys who's up, you're not the guy trailing, get to the freaking house. Guys, I talk about my own career all the time because I know like what I did in my career. When I went over to Europe, I was like, I'm just going to go to the net all the time, play around the net, stay around the net. I scored over 20 goals a year every single year, except for my last year, 5 out of 6 years. I scored 21 plus goals a year. Literally almost I'd say 95% of my goals those last 6 years of my career in Europe were within 5 feet of the net. If you want donuts, you go to Dunkin' Donuts. If you want bread, you go to the bakery. If you want goals, you go to the freaking net and stop. All right? The puck has to go to the net for it to be a goal. Get around the net, shoot more pucks, you will score more goals. Share the show.
Get to the front of the net. You want your cookies.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.